I, female, 29, just found out my fiancé, male, 31, has been cheating with his ex the entire time we've been together. Our wedding is in 3 months. I don't know what to do. So I met Derek 3 years ago at a brewery trivia night through some mutual friends. I'm a middle school art teacher, and he runs his family's construction business. We moved in together after like 8 months and got engaged at the 18-month mark. He proposed with his grandmother's old ring, and I was really happy. I should probably mention that Derek's family is pretty wealthy and tight-knit, and I definitely felt intimidated by them at first. His mom, Barbara, has made these little comments about my career choice. Stuff like, "It's so sweet you're passionate about teaching, even though the pay is modest, and at least you get summers off to help with the children someday." Just little digs that make me feel like I'm not good enough for their precious son. Anyway, the wedding planning has been a lot. We're getting married at this historic mansion that his family has connections to, and what started as a 50-person wedding has grown into a 200-plus guest event because his parents kept adding essential people to the list. I've been stressing about finding a dress that won't make me look cheap next to all his family's designer outfits without completely emptying my savings. I know how that sounds, but you haven't met his mom's friends. So about 6 months into our engagement, Derek mentioned that his high school girlfriend, Valerie, had moved back to town after getting divorced. He told me he ran into her and they were going to grab coffee and catch up. I remember feeling uncomfortable, but I pushed it down because I didn't want to be that jealous, insecure fiancé. I wanted to be the cool girl who doesn't care about her fiancé having female friends, you know. But then he started bringing her up all the time. Like, Valerie said this, and Valerie thinks that, and it was just a lot. And he started getting these texts late at night that he'd say were work stuff, but he'd always turn his phone away from me to answer them. And then there were these mysterious weekend business meetings that he was super vague about. I actually became pretty good friends with his sister Alex, female, 26, over the last year. She's really cool and down to earth compared to the rest of his family. But lately I've noticed her giving me and Derek these weird looks when we're together, like she's worried about something. I couldn't figure out what that was about. The first time I met Valerie was at this dinner party at Derek's parents' house about 4 months ago. She knew all these family jokes and traditions that I was still learning about after 3 years. She'd bring up memories from the lake house and everyone would laugh, and I'd just sit there feeling left out. She's tall and blonde and stylish. Not that I'm insecure or anything. Okay, maybe a little. About a month ago, we were going through the wedding guest list and Derek just casually said he wanted to invite Valerie. I wasn't comfortable with it since I barely knew her, but he got defensive when I questioned it. He told me she was going through a hard time after her divorce, and he wanted to support her. When I suggested putting her at a table with his college friends, he insisted she should be at the family table because she's practically family. I didn't want to seem jealous, so I agreed, even though it felt weird. My best friend Jamie met Valerie at a group dinner a few weeks ago and pulled me aside afterward, saying Derek and Valerie seemed really comfortable with each other. They had all these inside jokes and kept finishing each other's sentences. Jamie said something felt off, but I brushed it off and told her she was reading too much into it. Yesterday, Derek was in the shower and I needed to check on our honeymoon booking because the hotel had emailed about a reservation issue. His laptop was open on the kitchen table, so I used it to log into my email. While I was on there, these notifications kept popping up from some messaging app I didn't recognize. I sat there for like 5 minutes, debating with myself. I've never been the snooping type, and I've always respected his privacy. But something in my gut was screaming at me to look. So I clicked on it, and there they were. Hundreds of messages between him and Valerie going back almost 2 years. 2 years. That's basically our entire relationship. Pictures of her that I can never unsee. Plans to meet up when I was visiting my parents. Voice messages back and forth. The worst part was a voice message from last week where Derek said he was just going through with the wedding because it's what his family expects, but Valerie is who he really wants to be with. I can't even type this without crying all over again. 3 years of my life. All the wedding planning, meeting his family, planning our future, all of it was a lie. I closed the laptop and went into our bedroom and just sat there until he got out of the shower, then pretended everything was fine. I don't know what to do. The wedding is in 3 months. We've put down so many non-refundable deposits. His family has invested so much money. Everyone is expecting this perfect wedding. But how can I marry someone who's been lying to me our entire relationship? Who's in love with someone else? Who's only marrying me because his family expects it? I haven't confronted him yet. I'm afraid of what I might do or say. I haven't told anyone except you, internet strangers. I feel like I'm living in a bad dream. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up. Thank you all for the supportive comments. To answer some common questions, several people have asked if there's a prenup. Yes, we signed one about a month ago. His family insisted on it, which makes a lot more sense now. For those asking why his family prefers me over Valerie, if she's practically family, from what I can piece together, they had a messy breakup when she left for college. I think they see me as more stable and family-oriented, Barbara's words. Also, Valerie's apparently got some drama in her past that they don't approve of. Ironic that they prefer me when their son doesn't. To the people suggesting I might be misinterpreting the messages, I wish that were true. But there were explicit pictures and plans for hookups when I was out of town, and the voice message was crystal clear. There's no ambiguity here. For those asking about Derek's sister Alex, yes, I'm wondering if she suspects something too. She's been giving me these concerned looks lately and tried to have a private chat with me at the last family dinner, but Derek interrupted before she could say anything substantial. Now for the first update. Okay, so first, thanks to everyone who commented on my last post. The support has been really overwhelming, in a good way. After finding those messages on Derek's laptop, I had a complete breakdown. I grabbed some essentials and checked into a hotel that night, told him I was going to Jamie's for a girls' night because I was stressed about wedding stuff, which wasn't even a complete lie because I was stressed, just not about the things he thought. I just cried for like 10 straight hours, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just cried until I physically couldn't anymore. The next morning, I somehow dragged myself back to our apartment. I don't even know how I managed to act normal. He asked if I had fun with Jamie, and I just nodded and mumbled something. And he just went about his day like nothing was wrong. Didn't even notice I was upset. 3 years together, and he couldn't even tell I'd been crying all night. I called Jamie that day and told her everything. She got really quiet and then admitted she'd had suspicions after that group dinner. She noticed how they were looking at each other, but didn't want to say anything without proof because she knew how much I love him. Part of me wishes she'd told me her concerns earlier, but honestly, I probably wouldn't have believed her anyway. I was so blind. Like, looking back, there were so many signs. How did I miss them all? I know how, because I trusted him like an idiot. Since then, I've been faking it. On the outside, I'm still planning this wedding, calling vendors, finalizing details, smiling through fittings, but inside, I'm just collecting evidence. I forwarded all those voice messages to my own phone. I took screenshots of their texts. I started paying attention to all the signs I'd been ignoring, like how he always takes his phone with him to the bathroom now. Who does that? How he gets texts late at night and turns away from me to answer them. How he's suddenly working late, 3 to 4 nights a week, with no explanation. How he's gotten weirdly critical of little things about me, my hair, my clothes, even the way I laugh. God, I feel so stupid for not seeing it sooner. And the Valerie situation has gotten even worse. Last week, Derek suggested she should come to my bridal shower to get to know you better since she'll be at the family table. I managed to shut that down by saying it was just for my close friends and family, and he actually got annoyed with me for not wanting his affair partner at my bridal shower. Then there was this incredibly uncomfortable dinner last weekend. Derek invited his parents and Valerie, introducing her as one of his oldest friends who he wants to be part of our special day. I had to sit there for 2 hours watching them share inside jokes while his mom fawned over her. At one point, Valerie actually asked if she could see my engagement ring up close, and I caught this weird look between her and Derek when I handed it over. I felt sick. I decided to test him the other day. We were talking about the guest list, and I casually asked if he was still in contact with any other exes besides Valerie. He said they were just friends now anyway. LOL, sure. When I asked how often they talk or meet up, he claimed rarely, mostly at group things. I asked him about all the lunch meetings in his calendar with VR, and if that was Valerie Roberts. He got flustered and said they were work-related consultations, because she's helping with some project. This was news to me after 3 years. When I asked why he never mentioned working with her professionally, he flipped it around and accused me of spying on him and invading his privacy. I apologized and backed down, I know, because I wasn't ready to confront him yet. Then he suggested I might need therapy for my trust issues. I almost laughed in his face. I'm the one with trust issues, after he's been cheating our entire relationship. Seriously. The weird thing is, his sister Alex pulled me aside at a family dinner last week and said something really cryptic. She was like, "I've seen this pattern before. If something feels wrong, it probably is." Then Derek's mom called her over before she could say anything else. I'm starting to wonder if Alex knows something about Derek and Valerie. My anger keeps growing as I find more evidence. I found hotel receipts in his email from weekends he claimed to be on business trips, in the exact same cities where Valerie was checking in on Instagram. Not even trying to hide it. How did I not notice this before? The worst was yesterday. I came home early from school because a student threw up in my classroom, middle school art teacher problems lol, and I overheard Derek on the phone in our bedroom. He was laughing with Valerie about how completely oblivious I am about their relationship. He basically said I have no clue because I'm too busy picking out napkin colors to notice anything. I had to lock myself in the bathroom so he wouldn't hear me crying. But what really pushed me over the edge was finding a voicemail where they were making fun of my wedding vows. I had written them in a journal that I keep in my nightstand, and Derek took pictures and sent them to her. They were laughing about how sickeningly sweet and so naive my words were. That's when I decided I couldn't just confront him privately. He needs to face consequences for this. I know what you're thinking. Why not just leave? Trust me, I've thought about it. But after being lied to for years, I want him to face the music. I contacted our wedding DJ. He's actually an old college friend who owes me big time for talking him through a really bad breakup years ago. I made a special request without explaining everything. He seemed confused but agreed to help. I also secretly met with Alex yesterday. She confirmed everything I suspected and more. Apparently, Derek has a history of cheating in previous relationships. And get this, Valerie was his high school girlfriend who broke his heart when she left for college. He never told me that part. According to Alex, he never got over her, and when she moved back to town after her divorce, they immediately reconnected. Alex thinks he was going to break up with me until his parents made it clear how much they approved of me over Valerie. Apparently, Valerie has some wild history they don't approve of. So instead of being honest, he just kept us both. Alex offered to help me with whatever I decide to do. She seems genuinely disgusted with her brother, which is honestly the only thing giving me any comfort right now. I've been going back and forth about what to do. Part of me wants to just call off the wedding privately and disappear. But after 2 years of lies, after making me feel crazy for having suspicions, after mocking my vows, I want there to be consequences, public ones. So I've been preparing. I created a compilation of the most damning voice messages that clearly identify both of them. I opened a separate bank account and transferred my personal savings. I got all my important documents out of our apartment and stored them at Jamie's. Jamie is helping me move my essential belongings out during the wedding, and I've secured a temporary place to stay afterward. Last night was the rehearsal dinner. Valerie was there, seated prominently among Derek's family friends. I smiled through the whole thing, toasted to honesty and faithfulness. In marriage, Derek actually flinched and survived by focusing on what happens tomorrow. The wedding is in less than 24 hours. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Edit. To those asking if I've confronted him yet, no. I want to be completely prepared first. And after finding out how long and how deliberately they've both been deceiving me, I don't think a private confrontation is enough. A lot of you are asking about the prenup situation. Yes, we signed one about a month ago. His family insisted, which makes perfect sense now. I'm not concerned about it since I never wanted his money anyway. Thank you to everyone offering support. To those saying I should just leave quietly, I understand where you're coming from, but you didn't hear them laughing about how stupid and clueless I am. This isn't just about cheating, it's about them making fun of me for years. For those concerned about me causing a scene, that's exactly what I intend to do. I've spent 3 years being the polite, accommodating, not like other girls' fiancé who his family approves of. That ends tomorrow. Now for the second update. I exposed my cheating fiancé and his affair partner at our wedding. So it's been about a week since everything went down, and I'm finally in a place where I can write this update. Those of you who encouraged me to go through with my plan, well, you'll be happy to know I did it. And those who told me to just walk away quietly, I get where you were coming from. But after hearing them mock me and laugh about how clueless I was for years, I just couldn't. The morning of the wedding was so weird. I woke up at my hotel and I felt this bizarre calm. Like I should have been freaking out or crying or something, but I just felt empty, but also weirdly focused. Jamie stayed with me and kept asking if I was okay because I was too calm, lol. My bridesmaids and mom came over to get ready, and everyone kept commenting on how chill I was being. My mom was like, "I expected you to be a nervous wreck," and I just smiled and said I was excited for the day to unfold. While my hair was getting done, I got a text from Derek saying, "Can't wait to start our life together. Beautiful." And I literally almost threw up. Like my stomach actually lurched and I had to run to the bathroom. The makeup artist thought it was wedding jitters, but Jamie knew. She just handed me water and whispered, "You got this." I don't know what I would have done without her through all this. The hair and makeup people left around 11, and my bridesmaids were all chatting and taking pictures. I remembered the recording of Derek and Valerie laughing about my vows, and I was like, nope, this is happening. I had a brief moment with Alex when she stopped by the bridal suite to give me something borrowed. She squeezed my hand really tight and whispered, "Whatever happens today, I'm on your side," and I swear she knew something was up. Having her support meant a lot. The drive to the church was surreal. My dad kept telling me how proud he was and how Derek was a good man, and I just sat there nodding. I felt bad for my dad. He has no idea what's coming either. When we pulled up to the church, I could see all these people arriving. Like, over 200 guests. And then, I saw Valerie walking in wearing this super inappropriate flashy red dress. Like, who wears bright red to a wedding? Someone who's sleeping with the groom, apparently. Walking down the aisle was the hardest part. Everyone standing and smiling at me. Derek at the altar, looking all handsome and teary-eyed like he's so in love with me. I nearly lost my nerve. But then I caught a glimpse of Valerie in the third row, and the look on her face, this smug little smile, and my resolve came right back. I'd arranged everything with the officiant beforehand. I told him I wanted to do my vows first because I was worried I'd get too emotional after hearing Derek's. Lol, the irony. He was totally fine with it. So we get through all the preliminary stuff, and then the officiant says, Derek and Joanna have written their own vows, and Joanna would like to go first. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear anything else. I stepped forward and took a deep breath. I want to thank everyone for coming today to witness our commitment to honesty and trust, I started. My voice was shaking a little, but I pushed through. Honesty has always been the most important thing to me in a relationship. It should be the foundation of any marriage. I looked directly at Barbara and Craig, Derek's parents, when I said this next part. I've spent the last 3 years believing I was building that foundation with Derek, but I recently discovered that wasn't the case. Derek's face changed instantly. He knew. He fucking knew what was about to happen. Instead of reading the vows I wrote, I'd like to share something that I think better represents our relationship. I nodded to my friend at the sound system, and then it played. Derek's voice, crystal clear through the church speakers. I'm just going through with the wedding because it's what my family expects, but Valerie is who I really want to be with. The gasps from the audience. Oh my frickin' God. Derek lunged toward the sound system, but my friend had already locked the equipment room door. We planned for this. Then more recordings played, their conversations about meeting up when I was visiting my parents. Valerie's voice saying she couldn't wait until the necessary performance, the wedding, was over, so they could stop sneaking around. Derek laughing about me being too busy with napkin colors to notice anything. And then the worst one, them mocking my wedding vows that Derek had secretly photographed from my journal. Them laughing about how sickeningly sweet and naive I was. I just stood there completely still, watching Derek's face go from shock to panic to anger. Barbara audibly gasped and turned to stare at Valerie. Craig's face turned this scary shade of red. When the recordings finally stopped, I slowly took off my engagement ring. My hands were shaking so bad, but I managed to keep my voice steady. I deserve a marriage built on truth, I said. This isn't it. I placed his grandmother's ring on the altar and turned around. The entire church was dead silent. You could literally hear people breathing. I started walking down the aisle and Derek tried to follow me, calling my name. But then the craziest thing happened. Craig physically blocked him, like put his arm out and stopped his own son from following me. His face was, I don't even know how to describe it. Livid doesn't even cover it. I walked straight out those church doors where Jamie was waiting in her car with the engine running. We drove to a hotel in the next town over that she had booked under her name in case anyone tried to find me. Once I got to the hotel room, I completely broke down, like full-on hysterical sobbing for hours. I ordered room service but couldn't eat. I just cried until I literally passed out from exhaustion. The next morning, I hesitated before turning my phone back on. When I finally did, I had 39 missed calls from Derek, Barbara, Alex, Craig, and some wedding guests. Most were supportive, except Derek started desperate and got angry. I couldn't bring myself to listen to Derek's voicemails, but I did listen to Alex's. She told me what happened after I left. Craig publicly confronted Derek right there in the church. Barbara asked Valerie to leave. Apparently, Valerie tried to deny everything, even though her voice was on the recordings, lol. Craig announced to everyone that the reception was canceled and why. They had a family meeting where Derek finally confessed everything. 3 days later, I agreed to meet Craig and Barbara at a coffee shop. I was nervous but felt like I needed closure. Craig apologized for Derek's behavior and said their family values honesty above all else. Barbara was cold at first, but then she actually broke down crying. They offered to help with my moving expenses, which I eventually accepted as a small loan. Jamie told me Valerie requested a transfer at her workplace. Apparently the scandal was too much, and she's trying to leave town. Good riddance. Derek's messages have been a journey. First pleading, then angry. How could you humiliate me like that? Then seemingly genuine remorse. I haven't responded to any of them and don't plan to. Some things can't be fixed with an apology. Alex has been amazing through all this. She helped me get my stuff from the apartment and checks on me regularly. We actually might stay friends, which is weird but nice. I decided to stay in town rather than run away. Why should I be the one to leave? I've been rebuilding slowly over the past week. Got a new apartment, been focusing on work. My middle school students have no idea their art teacher just blew up her entire life, lol, and trying to process everything. I'm not ready to date again, obviously, but I'm okay. Like, not great, but not as destroyed as I thought I'd be. There's something freeing about finally standing up for yourself after years of being deceived. Some people, mostly Derek's friends, have said I was too dramatic about it all and should have handled it privately. But honestly, after they spent years lying to my face and laughing about how stupid I was, I have zero regrets about making sure they couldn't minimize or deny what they did. Yes, it was messy in public, but so was their betrayal, even if it happened behind my back. Thanks for reading all this.